Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel for another update on Bitcoin and Solana. Today is going to be a very quick one. I just want to share with you some key charts very quickly that I've got my eyes on right now to decide the next move for Bitcoin and Solana. And I'll also update you on the news which has come out in the past 24 hours or so. So starting off with some bullish news on the Bitcoin side of things. Morgan Stanley, $1.5 trillion asset manager, is reportedly racing to offer Bitcoin ETFs to all of their clients. And we've also seen some positive changes in the ETF flows in the past 48 hours or so. Now, yesterday, on the 3rd of April, that was Wednesday, we saw 113 million worth of positive inflows. Today, not all of the ETFs have reported because the trading days just started, but we've already got 117 million coming in from Fidelity's BTC worth of positive inflows. Now, this doesn't drastically change how the inflows have been showing for the past couple of weeks or so. For the past 20 days, the Bitcoin spot ETF cumulative flows have been stuck around their previous all-time highs, and I guess there's worse things we can complain about. They have had a slight correction back down to the downside. Another way of visualizing this is this chart over here. This blue line zigzagging through the chart is the cumulative flows for Bitcoin, and as you can see, they were positive. They did temporarily dip into the negative section, but they are now moving back into the positive. And we really are kind of sitting at this situation where, Bitcoin cumulative flows are still very, very positive. They aren't just exploding up as we previously saw, but some good changes within the past 48 hours or so with some positive flows coming in. I also do want to add on this chart, it's a little bit hard to see, but if you look at this blue line chart on the graph, every single time we dip into negative territory and then push back up into positive territory, bar one instance, we normally see a large amount of cumulative flows step back into the market within the region of about 500 million per day on average. That's what we were discussing previously, and it looks like we're going to be heading into this direction somewhat soon. One important economic event that I was talking about in my previous video was the fact that Fed Chair Powell was speaking on Wednesday. Now, to summarize what he said not that much too interesting, not that much important. He's actually kind of talking about more of a rate cut policy at this moment in time, more than talking about rate hikes, which is good. That's why the S&P 500 is up today. Like I said, quick video, don't want to dive into these charts, but DXY back down, S&P 500 back up because of this Powell speech. Now, moving into the main charts for Bitcoin, as you can see in the past day or so, we have had a significant rebound due to positive cumulative flows, Morgan Stanley looking to offer Bitcoin to all of their clients, and also Powell's speech, which the markets were assuming were going to be hawkish because of poor economic data. He seems to have glanced over that, and he's now more so talking about a rate cut strategy at some point in the future that he's not looking to implement now. They're really talking about, hey, we want to get inflation down to the 2% path, but they're not talking about raising the rates further, at least at this moment in time. But nonetheless, I digress. We're back up in the past 24 hours or so for Bitcoin. However, this is where I kind of have to handle a little bit of caution in the charts because we're seeing some mixed signals, and I want to let you know what I personally think is going to be happening. Now, looking at our first chart for Bitcoin, if we clear everything off the chart and just draw something very broad like this down here, what you can see, it's probably easier if we go over to the 8-hour time frame, we are forming something that could potentially end up being an M pattern if ETF inflows stop coming in. Now, like I said in the previous video, I'm going to keep you up to date with the ETF inflows because these are really going to be the market leader. This is going to be what's telling us which direction Bitcoin's going in. At least as of right now, ETF flows are starting to warm up a little bit, and we should be hoping they continue to warm up so we can avoid a breakdown to the downside of this chart. However, I do just want to highlight this chart to let you know in case one day you wake up and you see, hey, ETF flows have stopped, ETF flows have gone negative, then you can at least have this scenario in the back of your mind. Now, this is a potential M pattern, as we just discussed, and this is also a diamond top formation. Now, if I clear up the bottom, and if we're looking at this simply as a diamond top formation, you can see the breakdown target of this would be around about $52,000. Once again, just letting you know the breakdown target. Remember in my previous video, I was letting you know I think this is the most likely scenario. I said, I don't think we're going to break beneath 60,000. I think we're going to hold 60,000, and I think we're going to trend sideways coming into the halving in 17 days. That's my personal prediction. Once again, I'm just letting you know, keep your eyes on this. I'll keep you up to date with the flows. at least you know if the flows stop rolling in, you can look at different scenarios. But this is one potential scenario with the diamond top formation. Now, if we're looking at this as an M pattern breakdown and we do end up breaking beneath this neckline structure, something like this, then there is a price target all the way down here at 46,700. Not my prediction. 46.7 is not my prediction. 50,000 is not my prediction. Once again, my worst case scenario, at least as of right now, is 60,000. And we came relatively close to that yesterday, just beneath 65,000. Another positive spin on this that you could look at is the fact that we could potentially be in something like an asymmetrical triangle on this chart over here. Now, you can see in the past 24 hours, we did come down and tap support. And what happened? We saw positive news come in from Morgan Stanley, and we saw positive Bitcoin inflows from the 9 ETFs. So it's looking good. In my opinion, at least in the immediate short term, it's looking good. I personally don't think that we're just gonna, explode to the upside. I would be happily wrong because I'm not in any shorts and I already have my bags packed. But kind of something like this, what I detailed in my previous video, this is what I think is most likely. I don't necessarily think that the halving correction, which typically happens, is going to be as brutal as previous halvings because I think the ETFs will be there to buy up the dip. So worst case scenario, I really think, this correction from, 74,000 down to 60,000 or so, and then a little bit of, sideways lollygagging before we explode post-halving, that is my base case scenario. So all in all, both of these charts have the same kind of upwards trajectory that you would want to break around about, let's say 71,000. Above 71,000 would be a nice clear level to get above in the immediate short term for Bitcoin. If that does happen and we start to see positive inflows come in through the ETFs, then in my opinion, Bitcoin might save itself from a further correction back down to the downside. Now, not something I do very often, but I do also just want to show you what's happening right now on Ethereum. Ethereum is looking much worse. This M pattern is looking a lot more prominent over on the Ethereum side of things. Really, for all of these charts, you're kind of seeing the similar situation, only Bitcoin is kind of propping up with higher lows. Ethereum, on the other hand, is not only making these lower highs, but it's also making these lower lows. So just something to keep your eyes on. If Ethereum breaks down, some altcoins might struggle. Bitcoin might have a big blast to the upside post-halving. And if Ethereum starts to break down, then this might be one of those scenarios where we see the Bitcoin dominance go up for its final leg to the upside before Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin explodes post-halving, it goes to $80,000, $90,000, trends sideways for a bit. That's when we could see the alt season happen. Solana, on the other hand, is holding up so much stronger. Every single time Solana comes down for a correction, boom, it just gets bought back up. Comes back down for another correction, higher low, boom, gets bought back up. Comes down for a correction, boom, gets bought back up. All of these dips are being sharply bought back up for Solana, and that's because Solana's got a whole nother narrative for it going right now, and I will make a separate video looking at Solana priced against different assets and building on this video that I made about 4 days ago, Bitcoin halving correction equals Solana alt season, because I really do think Solana is getting ready to tear to new all-time highs and go into price discovery very, very soon. We'll be looking at a few different charts like this, Solana priced against everyone's favorite altcoins. For example, Sol KDA is just absolutely exploding to the upside right now. So this is kind of one of the reasons why I've strayed away from KDA at this moment in time. No, there's no altcoins, there's no meme coins, there's no NFTs being built on KDA right now. And I know one guy is going to comment, oh, what about the KDA miners that came out like a year ago? No one cares. No one's building on KDA like they're building on Solana. And this is the reason why Solana is just massively outperforming. At some point in the future, this narrative may change, but at least as of right now, Solana KDA, Solana Matic breaking into new all-time highs, Solana Ethereum breaking into new all-time highs, which no one's talking about, and Solana BTC is holding up very nicely. And I think once it gets above this 618 fib, Solana will be primed to explode to the upside. So really, that's all I've got for today. Once again, just wanted to let you know the main news takeaways in the past 24 hours or so, and I wanted to let you know the main charts that I'm looking at. All in all, in the short term, let's say the short term is in the next 2 weeks, I'm not bullish, I'm not bearish, I'm pretty neutral. I think, we could push up a little bit further and then trade sideways, or I think we could just kind of correct back down to 60,000 worst case scenario and then trend sideways, and then we trend sideways into the halving. That might be the halving correction already done, and then we'll slowly start grinding up to much higher price targets for Bitcoin and Solana. So for today, my friends, that's all I've got. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash like on the way out. I'll see you soon. Peace.